Trade review Tuesday, December 29th. Um, Market was very shaky today. There are some opportunities, but not nearly as much as yesterday. But uh, as the trading days go on, every day it's good to clear my head and reset. But prior to yesterday, I don't think I did reset. I was still on that high of how crazy the market was yesterday. Um, so I was trading very aggressively still. Um, and I paid the consequences a little bit for that, but inevitably ended the day green. I ended up, here are my trades for the day. Um, I ended up taking a $110 loss right at open. I have my live trading. You can go watch that. I kind of cut it to show those trades. $110 loss on a momentum trade. Tried to get the high break, and it did. It was a good setup straight out of the gate, but I got too nervous because I wasn't used to it. It's not my kind of trading, and ended up taking a $110 loss on it. And then went on to GBR, and we'll take a look at that. And that was a $640 loss. But luckily, it didn't affect my psyche because I've taken losses before right at the open and gained them back and some. And then went on to go kind of screw around with other plays. And then IRIX was a great play. It was a triangle rate breakout, something I know how to do, something I know how to play. And that went well. That gave me my money back. And then I went on to play a little bit more, blah, 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 back and forth, back and forth. Ended the day with $114 in profit. Haven't had a red day since I started doing these videos. But yeah, definitely not nearly as impactful as the yesterday's P&L. But at least I didn't end $640 down, and it ended in the green. So that's what we're looking for here, is just ending in the green. So I need to add more structure to these videos for my own sake. It's hard to watch these to go back on because I use these as learning experiences, and I haven't had a lot of structure lately. So I decided to go over my losing trade of the day, my winning trade, and then something to improve on, which is really important. I think everyone should do that. Um, so we'll look at my losing trade, which was what was it? Oh wait, I have it on the thing. GBR. GBR was my losing trade. Okay. So GBR. Let's go 1 minute. I got into this looking for the high break. Not, and as you can see, there's not really a setup here. It was more of just a momentum trade, and that's my first point that I came up with, is that the momentum had shifted today, and I think every day it's important to go very light in the morning, depending on what your trading style is. There were a few stocks with good setups, like even this was faded in pre-market, which wasn't a good sign, but it came up above VWAP and came above VWAP, right, faded again, but then came up on strong volume. So I thought since it was above VWAP, I was looking for that high break, but there was a big seller at 3.5. It couldn't break, and I ended up just getting stopped out right here. I think I sold at 2.8 because I knew this thing was going to sell off. And so that was a bad start to the day after taking the first initial loss of $100. But yeah, it had already faded. There wasn't really a setup. I mean, it was more of just a high break momentum trade, but it got denied hard up here, and I should have seen that and waited for it to break or be more constructive to break that. And these setups are riskier, so I think it's important to position size smaller on these momentum trades for me, because I personally struggle a little bit with these, not much practice there. Okay, and then let's go over my winning trade. My winning trade was IRIX. This was a good trade. It was a really good trade. This is what I trade usually. This was a flag. It could have gone either way, but it had good volume coming into this third setup. It touched twice, 1, 2, even touched 3 times down here, and touched twice here. So It could have gone either way, but it showed strong buying right at this candle, above average, and that's what you want to see is just pure green right here when it's about to break through. And it did. I got my fill right before. I think it was 295. It was below VWAP, which was a bit riskier, but I was looking for that squeeze above VWAP, and it did. It's not an amazing trade because VWAP is above the triangle, but it's a less obvious trade. And I was looking to take profits even at 310, right at this high. And so I took profits off the table here. It's to move my stop to my entry point. That means that after I enter it, I take profits off the table. That way, if it goes back to my entry, I won't be down anything. I could even lose a little bit on the trade to add some cushion to the trade. So waited for that high break, 310, squeezed up to like 318, 319. I think I got filled at like 314, even though I went for, I thought I had 318. And then tried to retrade the momentum because I was still on that high from yesterday. I'm like, oh my god, everything's gonna go. And I got lucky here on my second run because bought down here and just played with these candles a little bit, only for like $20, but still I thought it was gonna break. And then it started to flag, um, which could have potentially set up for another run, but it ended up selling off. So that was my winning trade. I had good entries and exits on this one. But the second time I re-entered, I got lucky to not take a loss on it. And the thing to take away from this is it was just a little too aggressive for the day because nothing was really working for my trading style. So after this, I decided to trade a little bit more, but then got burnt out and was out by about 9 a.m., which is usually the time that I stop trading. And if we can see that SPY is down a little bit. It wasn't a good day for large caps. There's barely anything moving. Not a lot of volume today, which could be signaling something larger coming. We're expecting a pullback. I mean, this thing's hitting new highs every day almost. So, overall, I'm glad I came out green today. This market is insane. Even when you're having bad days, you can have good days. And and then something to improve on, I wrote down that position sizing lighter in the morning. That means buying less shares is important because the first 5 minutes are very volatile, and that was the first time that I traded in the first 5 minutes. I usually go to the 5 minute chart and then see what happens after there. So it's good to position lightly because it is somewhat risky. And momentum breakouts really only are very effective when the whole market is going, when there's lots of volume, there's lots of retail investors, there's a lot of people trading, and there wasn't that much volume today, so it's good to wait for a safer and better let the formations occur and show themselves that they're strong before you enter. So overall, not mad. $100 is $100.